Sun City Resort is now 21 years old. It's like a little city. We run it as a city. We're responsible for all the infrastructure maintenance, all the road maintenance, all the sewerage, whichever part of the maintenance we're responsible for. We have 1,301 bedrooms on the resort, excluding our timeshare, which is an additional 240 units. We do in the region of 670 million rands revenue turnover per annum, which, as I said previously, is split about 64% hospitality and 38% or 35% gaming. We currently have a permanent staff headcount of 1,700 people. If I add in, we've just done an audit now, if we start adding in our business partners, contractors, concessionaires, that figure jumps up to about 6,000 staff. We changed from a gambling destination to a resort destination. We started the process approximately 6 years ago. And the reason that we took the decision to change was obviously because of the anticipated new casinos opening, and hence the effect that would have on our income from a gaming perspective. But more than that was that we already had taken our knocks in terms of gambling revenue because of the Carousel and Marula being opened. And what had happened was that before Carousel and Marula, 70% of Sun City's income was gaming and 30% was hospitality. And hospitality we refer to as rooms, food and beverage and all other services. After Carousel and Marula opened, it swung around to the extent that 60% became hospitality and 40% became gaming. And that's really where we sit today, that split of income. So we had to reposition the resort in order to become profitable and remain profitable. Losing about 7 years ago, we were losing 60 million rand a year. Because of the fact that our revenue streams had changed, our mix had changed, but the organization structures within had not changed. The palace was designed and built, as you can see, the architectural structure is African. And if you go through the resort, that really is the African heart of the resort from an architectural point of view. And we felt that we need to take that theme throughout, specifically the international market being the main driver. We felt that our success and survival into the future is going to depend on the international market, and they require that African experience is what we felt would be unique in terms of our marketing ability. And within those markets we service various segments, and those segments are not dissimilar, both local and international. It's just the product that we offer that changes within those various segments. We cater right from the 3-star market right up to the 5-star plus. So yeah, we like to believe we cater for all market segments, excepting below the 3-star level.
I think that as soon as you walk through the main door of the palace, you immediately are in the African experience. And I think the guest, when he arrives here, he's overwhelmed by not only the grandeur of the building as you walk in, but eventually when he gets to his room, by the size of the room and the bathroom and the general layout. I think the choice of interior decorators and architects was the prime importance for this hotel, because it depicts very much an African theme. As you walk into the hotel, you feel that you're coming into Africa. You feel you're coming into a little bit of a magic Africa, but it's still Africa because of the mosaics that are being used and the paintings, and the entire African theme is there in the fixtures and the fittings. And we try to use as much of African products as we can. It was considered at one stage that, luxury hotels should have imported items, be it from France or other countries. We do that for the suites, but I think we now are going to look at it in a different way, because I think you can find some fabulous products in South Africa which are as nice for guests imported items. You get the feeling that you might be in a tropical island, or you might be in Africa, in the bush in Africa, and people really like it. Every time they walk in here and they see the details, it's the, wow, we're in the middle of the bush, and this hotel has been built, and they said, when I speak to I guess they said they've never seen anything like it in the world. They have some wonderful hotels in the Middle East, in Abu Dhabi and Dubai, but this is very special. The Palace collection is actually managed by Johnny Jackalow, who manages all the retail on the whole complex, and I think it's the very exquisite branding that he's taken on that has made it very attractive. And there are all other items too that are in the room that can be purchased. He's actually elaborated on it, so you can buy your T-shirts, you can buy your polo shirts, safari jackets, and other memorabilia.
Fundamentally, it was a typical example of a business coming out of a monopolistic environment into an environment where there was few competitors, oligopoly if you want to call it that. We drove through productivity immensely. We started to monitor productivity on a very strict basis because that was something that wasn't there. We revised all our internal organizational structures in terms of management and staff structures. We drove through an immense process of accountability through performance management. We embarked on extensive training programs throughout the organization. So it was a whole process that was put in place, as well as a direct realization of the importance of customer service. And that we managed extensively through a program we introduced called what we call our Mystery Guest Program, whereby every single service on the resort is audited by an external company every month. We embarked on extensive communication throughout the resort, monthly road shows, monthly briefings, that kind of thing with the staff. So they understood, they knew we were losing money, they knew that we had to change, they knew that if we didn't make some fundamental changes to our structures within the resort, to our manpower, to productivity standards, the possibility existed that the resort wouldn't be here in the future. And then the last decision that we took was to outsource. Or not the last, but one of the decisions. We outsourced a whole host of our services that we were managing and running. It's a sound principle to the extent that you have product variety on an ongoing basis. You also have, obviously it brings with it the specialist skills involved in running those entities which we don't have. And the most important thing for me is the flexibility of costs that it brings with it, dependent obviously on how you structure the contracts. And the product that we have is, as I've said, the palace is architecturally African. So there it's quite easy because of that architectural structure to support the service and product offerings that you have within that. And in fact, that was designed to be an African experience from day one. So it's been a lot easier to do at the palace because that has been that way since the beginning. The challenge has been to take out that experience throughout the resort, and that we've done through from my point of view, the first thing I did was change every single uniform on the resort. If you have a look now, right from the contractors, cleaners, the guys in the golf courses, everybody has got an African theme to it. That was the first step that I did. The second thing that I've done is, if you have a look at the transport that drives around now, they are all branded with animals and African images that come through. We link in very closely with the Pilanesberg National Park, again to provide that whole game drive African experience. The most interesting one that we're busy discussing at the moment, and that is that I'm busy looking at, well, we're busy looking at developing a bush lodge, our own bush lodge, which will be developed in the Pilanesberg. And what that is to do, that is to extend that African experience. In other words, that you come to Sun International now, to the Palace, for example, you receive an African experience. And then what we'll do is take them through to the bush, which will also be our facility to extend it. So we'll continuously enhance it and look at ways in which we can make it a better experience.
Over the years, we've obviously developed an intimate knowledge of our players' likes and dislikes. And on certain games, players have superstitions. We have little idiosyncrasies, if you like. And essentially, our staff need to know what those are and how to deal with them, in order to ensure that the customer is happy. And obviously, at the same time, the games still run efficiently. None of our immediate casinos in Gauteng can create, for instance, a beach party at the Valley of Waves or on a beach. We can create, we do and we can create events within the Super Bowl, within the Valley of Waves. We essentially try and use every single facet of a resort to create a slightly different experience each time a customer comes along.
From a day-to-day operational perspective, quite honestly, it's management on the floors. That's all it is. And it's being very focused on the attention to detail, very focused on the look of the resort, and very focused on the fact that the resort has to be 100% of the time. The essence of the success lies in two things. That is the ability of us to audit our results objectively, as I mentioned to you, and the other thing being management on the floor. Management presence relating to ensuring that customer service is offered. I think those two elements, which was, and when I say management on the floor, I don't just mean management walking around and being visible, more than management being on the floor, proactively monitoring the standards of service being offered. And that again starts from here. You know, it can't start from, it's got to be a culture that gets instilled. And if we look at the success of, say, $1 million or Nedbank Golf Challenge, having been through that now 7 times, and every year when we do this function, the comments are absolutely superb. And having looked at that and applied our minds to that, obviously one of the common things is that every single manager shuts the office doors, doesn't worry about any other type of thing, and focuses purely on that event. The mission statement itself obviously looks at the various elements of the business that need to come together for success, being the product, it says it opens up as a unique world-class resort, the pride of Africa. The second part of it talks about customer satisfaction and profitability and reputation. The third part about it talks about our employees. So it encompasses all your stakeholders per se. The most recent addition to the mission statement, which we added in about 5 months ago, was now you'll see our business partners are included in the mission statement. I think one of the biggest challenges, and sorry, just to close, and you know this, Conrad, from my point of view, and I've said it for a long time, is the incorporation of the business partners into the culture of the resort.
Bricks and mortars have made many hotels in the world look beautiful, but it's eventually the staff that make the reputation of a hotel. And I'm going to repeat myself, as I said, I have worked in 17 different countries, and I've never come across such friendly staff as we have here in, I would say in Sun City, but I would probably in South Africa. When you think that many of our employees are living in small villages around this palatial building, and they come to work, we give them a uniform, and they actually fit in immediately, and they do it with something humility, but also with pride. First impressions are the most important, first and the last.
At Sun City, we create the guest experience by many means. The primary means being educating our staff in terms of what we believe is good quality service, and it's a technical aspect, and it's going through what we call the mystery guest questionnaire. We have silent audits every month. The hardest thing about it is, in fact, to get the emotional buy-in.
I believe somehow in the last 2 to 3 years,
via use of the mystery guests, the silent audits, which we do on a monthly basis. And I think by management intervention and getting closer to the staff, I believe there has been a behavioral shift. I believe that behavior has affected attitudes. And you're quite right, in the last 3 years the staff have become of their own almost a lot friendlier at the desk, a lot more relaxed with guests, a lot more willing to interact. And it does. You obviously have people who need nurturing, and we identify those people and we actually nurture them, give them all the positive strokes, nurture them for them to be successful. When people are finding enjoyment at work, they obviously give off that to other employees, and I think very much it's a case of success breeds success. Feeling good about yourself makes you want to feel good about yourself more often. That's why I'm pretty opposed to the autocratic approach, although you also do have those instances where there are people who will freely admit that they need a kick to actually get on with their lives and get on with their jobs. And if that is their comfort zone, we give that to them as well. An empowerment of people is the answer going forward. If people feel empowered and they empower their own people, and it really is success breeding success, then the workload gets spread, you have less turnover of staff, and there is generally just a air of pride that people have installed in them, working in this environment. What's needed to instill a culture is what the old corporate companies used to have. It's a group of people with like-minded ideals, like-minded philosophies, who are willing to go the long haul, who don't jump company to company to earn more money, who have a belief that they can benefit an organization without being retrenched. And as such, they give heart and soul to an organization. They accept it's going to be for 30 years, and by that process, create a culture.